Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Daily Entrepreneur. We got episode 7 here today. A bunch of great topics. I'm Jack, James, and Josh with the School of Hard Knocks. And yeah, so let's get right into it. So our first topic today is pretty much the company Juul that made the artificial kind of e-cigarette company that they are owing $440 million to 33 different states and Puerto Rico in a settlement to kind of battle against these states coming at them for encouraging teen vaping. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of inevitable to happen at some point. We saw that they were kind of getting crushed by the FTC because of like advertising to younger kids. You can't, I think legally, yeah, you can't. Well, it wasn't that necessarily they were targeting younger kids, but let's be honest, the people who were using the Juuls were younger kids, and so because of like they were already up a really steep slope with their marketing and advertising, and ultimately they ended up just stopping all advertising, and so now we're seeing this. It's not really a surprise.
The one problem I have with this is I feel like Juul is really being used as a scapegoat right now. I think Juul definitely was responsible for the start in teenage vaping, which I definitely think they need to get punished for, but I feel like they have already they've gone over countless lawsuits over the past couple years, but now I just feel like they're not the sole contributor to teen vaping. Teens are vaping everywhere using Hyde, puff bars, Views, everything. So I don't feel like this is just a Juul problem. I feel like Juul is just being used as a scapegoat here.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think the reason for this is because basically the rise in teen vaping was, you saw the trend happen after the company was initiated. There were probably other e-cigarette companies that followed because of Juul's popularity, but literally the statistics show that the rise in teenage vaping is at a steady trajectory with Juul's growth as a company. And so that kind of puts it right in the sand of just like, all right, this is the company that is responsible. And a lot of mainly what they're going after for them in the lawsuit is their marketing tactics, not necessarily towards teens right away, but really going after a very younger market and demographic. And so they think that because they're going after just a young adult demographic anyways, it's just going to transpire that teens are going to pick up on that. I mean, if you see in just like TV shows and movies, usually, teenagers are cast by people in their 20s. And so if you're marketing using people in their 20s, then, teenagers are already used to seeing older people playing in their roles. They easily are going to catch on that, hey, that they're almost like marketing to me. And so the FDA actually ruled it as an epidemic of, an underage vaping problem.
Yeah.
So
for those of you that know, Kanye West and Gap had a long-term, ultimately billion-dollar partnership where they agreed that Kanye could sell a Yeezy product line in Gap stores throughout the country, which ultimately this past week was terminated by Gap because they just could not see eye to eye in any realm, which has led to now a legal battle in which Kanye claims the war has just begun. And the best part about it all, Kanye is bringing in none others than Elon Musk's attorney to fight the legal battle and win against Gap. Which brings us into our next story. Elon Musk's company SpaceX, his satellite service provider Starlink, will be requesting exemptions from the sanctions placed against Iran by the U.S. government, which, for those of you who don't know, tensions between the United States and Iran are pretty high, and the United States over the past several years, we saw the U.S. and Iran nuclear deal in which the U.S. and a ton of other countries in Europe and across the globe have imposed sanctions against Iran. And due to recent protests and backlash to what's going on in Iran, just with internal conflict, their service and ultimately freedom of speech throughout the internet has been tarnished and is being destroyed right now. And Elon Musk, Starlink, the service provider through SpaceX, actually is trying to find that this could be a valuable solution for the citizens of that country. And it's going to be ultimately to kind of like see what's able to be done there, if Elon can intervene between the U.S. government and Iran, and what ultimately can happen there.
yeah, this is a primal case of how the public sector is now crossing over into the area of innovation, where it becomes a barrier for innovation. Considering that, Elon, if you look at Elon Musk's track record, he really does not care about the political standpoint of the United States. He just doesn't. It's not even just because he's not originally from the U.S. Obviously, he's from South Africa, but that has nothing to do with it. It literally is because he looks at things at a very world long-term view for the entire state of humankind. He doesn't really care about, the political forces of the U.S. or the political interests of the U.S. other than maybe wanting to put out electric cars in the U.S., help our GDP. But the thing with this situation is you clearly see now that because the U.S. has sanctions against Iran, that now Elon's innovation and the things that he's trying to do is now affected by it. Definitely, I think that, if you have a global innovation plan like this, then sometimes things just rise above, political affairs between two countries, especially when what he's trying to do isn't really that harmful. But obviously the U.S. government might look at it as a way to weaken Iran if they can.
I really hope the U.S. does decide to lift these sanctions for this internet, because I think that the people of Iran, it doesn't matter where you're at, should have access to internet to be able to, provide free speech. Because right now they literally can't do that. They don't have the ability to go ahead and provide and share their discontent with what's going on over there, because their internet is either so poor or it's just getting moderated so heavily to where the people can barely communicate with each other and people outside of the country.
Currently, right now, the program that Elon Musk is offering through SpaceX is available on all 7 continents, and it seems like there's only about 400,000 users, but it's projected to grow crazy, and it's going to see. We saw what Elon Musk did with Tesla, now with SpaceX. What he's able to do with this branch, with as an internet provider. Elon Musk is one of the world's biggest innovators of all time. What this is going to do and change.
Well, you saw that obviously, and I think it's still going on. The conflict between Ukraine and Russia. Starlink was providing internet to Ukraine, pretty much, in areas throughout the war that they didn't have any access to internet due to the bombings or whatever it may be. But basically Elon, he tweeted out that said, hey, Starlink is available in Ukraine. And that's how this, the citizens there, but then also maybe, some of the people actually fighting the war have access to internet there because of Starlink. And so I think that's something that, if the U.S. was really trying to help Ukraine in the war against Russia, then obviously they could see the good that Starlink did there. Maybe that they'll see that hey, what they're protesting over in Iran really has nothing to do with our geopolitical battle with them. It really is just if he allows them to get Starlink, then it really is just a betterment for humankind and not really going to affect anything with their sanctions.
That goes ahead and brings us to our next topic, which is Honda has overpaid their employee bonuses and is now asking for the money back. In a factory in Ohio, they overpaid employee bonuses by over 8%, and pretty much in a memo said by the company, they said the employees either have 9 days to pay it back, or it can be cut from their either future paychecks or bonuses. And I'm going to be honest, this seems like a huge mess up. You can't overpay people, especially on a bonus, and then start to ask for the money back. What are you guys' kind of thoughts on this?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, let's just put it out there point blank. Honda screwed up. They need to just let the way that I look at it is that Honda needs to just take this as hey, you know what? We really care about our employees. We made the screw up, but hey, at the end of the day, our employees win. They get a few extra dollars in their pocket this month to help with expenses that could be life-changing this month for some of their employees. Honestly, that it's just, you made the mess up. It wasn't that drastic. Of course, 8%, okay. But I'm sure a company like Honda, you can eat it because you're going to get more backlash by asking for that money back, or at least just saying to your employees that, you know what, you guys really aren't that special. You guys aren't special enough to get an accidental, 8% bonus. I get that, that there's probably finances that I'm not looking at to be able to make that statement. And sure, maybe Honda really does need that money in that factory. But to be honest with you, it's just a worse look.
And again, what have we been talking about on previous episodes? The Great Resignation and the quiet quitting that's been going on. This is a prime example. If you treat your employees like this, and again, you incentivize them with bonuses and then ask for that money back because you say you overpaid them. I mean, Honda's a multi-billion-dollar company, and they're established in numerous countries throughout the entire globe. It's just a bad look, man, and it's going to be really interesting to kind of see, like you said, the backlash that they get not only internally, but how this kind of affects them on, from a PR perspective as well.
And it's great that you say that, because just think about that. If they just ate that cost, we wouldn't even be talking about this right now. Their factory workers would probably be even more happy, be like, hey, we overpaid you guys. It was a mess up on us, but go ahead and keep it. It's our mistake. And now we're over here talking about it because it's ridiculous. Like you said, billion dollar company. There's no way that they shouldn't be able to just eat this and be like, hey, our mistake. Next time going forward, we should just do our numbers better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally on the company. There's no reason why the employees, should get paid. They get paid more by accident, but then trying to retract the statement it's just going to lower morale. It's just going to make, how do you expect your employees to go to work motivated?
Well, thank you guys so much again for tuning in to episode 7 of the Daily Entrepreneur. We're going to be doing these Monday through Friday. If you enjoyed the video, leave us a like. You learned something. Make sure you subscribe for a ton of great content coming, and make sure that you're following us throughout all of our socials, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube at the School of Hard Knocks. Thank you guys. Have a great day.